Suneera Madhani. Suneera Madhani.
Without much further ado, I'd like to welcome Suneera.
Hi, I'm Suneera Madhani, a mom of two, daughter of an immigrant, and an unlikely entrepreneur who built a billion-dollar business. Yes, billion. Now I'm doing it again and building my second unicorn, Worth. Shockingly, less than 2% of female founders ever reach 1 million in revenue, and I'm on a mission to change that. At CEO School, we mentor thousands of women to help them level up in business and in life. We believe that you deserve to have it all because honestly, nothing bad happens when women make more money. Grab a seat because class is officially in session. Welcome to CEO School. Hey everyone, welcome back to the CEO School podcast. I'm your host, Suneera Madhani, and today I am bringing someone so special to the show, and I'm trying to convince him not to leave, so I literally got him to sit for 20 minutes. Let's see if we can get him for a little bit longer. It's none other than my co-founder, partner, bestie, and brother, Sal Rehmetullah.
It's so good to be here.
Is it though?
Yeah, I know. What is it? I don't know. Episode 2, 3, 4, whatever number I'm on. It's always fun. It's always a process to get me here, but I always leave excited, being like, that was actually way funner than I thought it would be.
See, I think you're actually going to really enjoy this. This is going to come out to be one of like the coolest, greatest shows.
I always do.
Well, I know that for the reason why it's not like he doesn't want to be here. So I'll start with that. We were here right now actually talking about, we have an event coming up at Money 2020 and Damon John is our keynote speaker for this event.
Yep.
Private luncheon. A couple of episodes ago, you heard me kind of share how we're doing, I shared my marketing tips of 2024. And one of the things that we're doing is event hacking.
Yeah.
As a scaling business, you've got resources, you've got places to be. And it's, we're fully funded, all the things, but we're really smart about how we utilize our capital, utilize the things. And I don't know, I'm just super excited to get Damon in the room. Shark Tank has just been a
around
dream.
Our lives for a long time. Yeah.
Dream of mine. I think first business I started, right? So the first business that we started, but the business plan actually came out. I don't know if you remember this, when I was stuck in the Dallas snowstorm at Nani's house. That's our grandma's at Nani's house. Me and my little cousin Seth, he's the one who showed me it was like season 1 of Shark Tank. It was like season 2. And so we binge watched season 1 and season 2.
I remember this.
And I left just like, what is venture capital? What is this investment? And was like, man, we can get other people, OPY or OPM. Other people's money to fund your business. It was a very novel concept. And it's not that business had not been around in our lives forever. I mean, we grew up around entrepreneurship. Yep. Dad was always doing all the stuff. And so we were building businesses, but it was the first time that I learned about raising capital and a business valuation.
Yeah.
And I left with this business plan that then turned into Stacks, our first company, and exited that with you for north of $1 billion. And here we are again doing it the second time around. And this time we wanted to do things differently. The struggles that we faced in, attaining, capital for our business, struggles and all the things. This time around we get to build again. And so I'm just so excited I get to do it with you again. And we get to do cool stuff like bringing Damon into the room. How do you feel?
It's always a version of surreal. I think each day it's like, you expect it to happen, but you almost forget to pause. You're just in the grind so much. You're just checking boxes. You're like, oh, we got it. Okay, great. What's the panel going to look like? What's the thing going to look like? But I don't always get to enjoy it. I usually get to enjoy it from a third party view when it's done. When we get through these big moments, because right now it's all right, who's coming? We've spent a ton of money on this. We got to make sure we maximize it. We're really excited about educating the market. And you're going through this and so you're so just in it. And so I think a lot of times when you get to step back away from it and you're like, oh, that was cool, right? That was great. And there's a big portion of that. And then the Money 2020 thing, I mean, I don't think we could afford a ticket to this conference for years, let alone to...
We used to share a badge for those that don't know. So the conference tickets are this was $2,000 plus for a conference ticket. Now it's $4,000 plus, but it was super expensive just to get a badge.
Yeah.
And we'd have to share it. Like we'd share one badge, and we probably shouldn't share this because now they're partners, but we would like all start up, share the badge.
I think people know that's the way it kind of works out, and they've gotten better about it or continue working on it. But yeah, it was all your vendors in one place, all the customers in one place. And it is a big place to be. And we wanted to maximize the opportunities. And so from there, from barely being able to get onto the scene to different panels to get a part of, to keynoting in those, and the parties that we hosted and all sorts of different things. And then full circle coming all the way back around to hosting such a large event, with hundreds of people that are part of the top 50 financial institutions that want to be in the room with us. And like, it's funny because I get like DMs like, oh, can you get me an invite? The amount of like, can you get me in is just like, it's just a completely different table to be on. So it's just fun. It's fun to do it.
Can I pause you for a question? You
Yeah.
said something that is so different about the two of us. You said the word like, of course it's going to happen, or I expect it to be.
Yeah.
So you said the word expect, and you said
Yeah.
the word of course. And it's funny because my brain doesn't think that way. I have like come from like, and I don't know if it's like the woman in me or like the constant, like I'm constantly doubting myself, and you're always showing up to be like, it'll be fine. You're going to be okay. It's all going to work out. But my mind, I'm freaking out that one, I can't believe we were able to pull it off. So I definitely had like the vision comes, and I'm like, we should go get Damon John for this because have you heard his story of whatever? Like he would be the perfect person to have this dialogue for us about worth. And then it happens, and then I don't expect it to happen. Yeah. I don't expect for it to all work out. I'm expecting the worst. I'm expecting like no one's showing up. I'm expecting like this is going to, I don't know. I'm just like in like the fear side of the brain kicks in.
Yeah.
But you have this like maniacal like just to-do list, execution mode. Then you get to step out.
Yeah.
And like you zoom out afterwards. You're like, oh, that was great. But you expect it to go great.
Yeah.
Why is that different between us?
I think if you actually go back, you came to me with this in April or May.
Okay.
And you were like, hey, we should do this thing. And I'm like, cool idea. That was kind of where I left it. Until you were like, no, I really want to do this. And I'm like, okay. So where my brain starts at that moment, back in April, it starts to go into problem solve mode. So I automatically am like, this won't work. It's too expensive. How would you drive it? What would be the thing? So I already go through my problem like solving mode.
Okay.
So by the time I get to the point of saying, okay, fine, we're going to do it, I have already like mind mapped all of the issues that could potentially happen.
Okay.
So in my head, I've already played like insane scenario analysis. And so by the time I actually say I'm going to do it, then I'm not even worried because I've already played all the worst case scenarios out in my head. So when I show up, I'm like, okay, we just got to go do it. And then after that, I don't know, whatever it is, somehow, whether it's life that works out for us, whether it's the amount of effort we put into it, I just feel like when we really want something to happen, we make it happen.
We will our way there.
Yeah. And will, I say like, it's not luck, right? Like there's this concept of like things, they don't fall in our lap. Like you didn't find out that you knew Damon John and therefore we should try it. You're like, no, I want a shark. I would like it to be this person. And then we're like, all right, how do we get in touch with that person? Yeah. It's not this opposite. Like, did you know I knew this person? We could probably use them. We don't go from it that way. We like literally paint out our scenario and then we work to build our scenario within it. And so when it comes to things like today, and I'm sure like this morning we're going through and there's levels of anxiety of what are we going to do here?
Levels of anxiety.
I have to remind her. It's funny. You guys get to see a side of her. Sometimes I get to see a side of her you guys don't get to see. But
Share it. That's why I want you to be on the show.
Yeah, what I would say about Suneera is she has a pendulum swing sometimes of emotion when it comes to like this. I called it scenario analysis, but like making sure every detail is thought through, and then all of a sudden she has to solve all of it at the same time. So it turns into like this. Well, what's gonna happen here? What's gonna happen here? And it's just like literally this morning I wrote on a piece of paper. I wrote breathe, and I handed it to her, and not for anything else, but just to be like, we got this. This is not our first time doing it. We've done this 50,000 times. And I know she knows she's going to get through it. And I know she knows she's going to do it. But like sometimes even at this stage, because I can also tell you that she's probably mentally was like, I want to do this. We put a lot of bets in it.
It was imposter syndrome for me today. So what was like referencing this morning, we actually had, so not only do we have Damon for our keynote speaker right before it, I feel like I do really well with like, not saying that like I'm not imposter syndrome with guys like Damon or whatever. today I was on the moderating the panel discussion was with like SVP of Bank of America, head of Square. We had one of our ex MasterCard, one of our current customers, like my favorite CEO that like I literally admire him as like a CEO, my chairman. And then when I get my like professional world in it, then I get like that imposter syndrome will like kick in and I'm like, oh my God, am I perfectly prepared? And I didn't feel what does it for me is I need to take
preparation.
that and I need to slow down to speed up.
Yeah.
So for me, I need that extra 5 minutes to like breathe, look at the stuff, be prepared for it, and then show up to the call. And we were in your state of it, we've already prepared. We've already gone through this stuff.
Exactly.
We've already done the things. But I have this like weird mental process that needs to happen. And then for me, I'll just be honest with you, it was when I'm speaking fast, when I'm getting nervous or when I'm getting whatever, it's because I have this level of insecurity of like, oh my God, I'm going to talk like, because these are the people that I'm like, I don't want them to view me in a like a
and the funny thing
unprepared
is,
way.
you have the absolute opposite in scenarios
I
too.
know.
You will go the opposite direction where it's zero preparation, zero anything. Will show up to any room of like, oh, no problem. I have no presentation and I'm presenting in front of 20,000 people with nothing, no keynote, no script, no nothing, and can absolutely have the portion. So you're right. It is that area. And I called it the pendulum swing, but it is both sides. And you always find your equilibrium every time. It always works out within it. But yeah, so we are excited about the event. Just like right now, we're going through all the emotions, the highs, the lows of making sure we get there, but we know it's going to be amazing. And it's fun to be on this side of the table to be able to host something that large that we've always wanted to do.
I'm super excited. We'll keep you posted on this event, but the goal is to go get our partners, our customers, everyone excited about Worth. At the end of the day, it's about Worth. It's about, sharing our new story, the mission that we have. I'd love to kind of, how are you doing, Sal? Second time around, doing it again.
Yeah.
Co-CEO here. I have been nonstop singing your praises over the last week we just had the most incredible leadership offsite. It was the best leadership offsite I've ever been to. When I tell you, he's made me do like at least 40 in my time for the last like decade. We've done 2 to 3 a year. This was by far the best one we've ever done. I just want to give you kudos. I'd love for you to share a little bit about your process. We've got lots of entrepreneurs listening.
Yeah.
Why is this important? What was this process? Please tell us everything.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I think for anybody that's out building a business, small, large, I think it's so hard to step away from your business. And I know you can read every book and you talk about it, and the saying goes like, you have to work on your business, not in your business, right? At times. And so we spend twice a year purposefully fully removing ourselves in the business, which means, there's no laptops, no email, no phone calls, let me just step away for 15 minutes. I can schedule it on this time. You actually have to fully step away, because what it allows you to do is it goes back to almost like looking at yourself, right? Like looks at yourself, it looks at all of the leadership there, and it looks on the business. And you almost have to it's like, I don't want to call your baby ugly, but you have to approach the business and like, what are the things that I have to fix to make this with the outcome? So you start all the way in the beginning to like, what is the mission? Why did I start this? Why did I do this? Because all of us building a business, we're focusing on making sure employees get paid and what's the next paycheck and what's this big customer we just signed we're onboarding and how are we going to meet the financial obligations that we made for October or November. And so this is like that reminder to say, well, how do we think 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, a year down the line?
So it's with the end in mind first.
Absolutely end in mind. And the other thing about it though is to get everybody in that mindset, it takes actual work. This one is one we actually have to prepare for. And when I say prepare, it's not that you have all the answers, but this is truly like a whiteboarding workshop for 3 days.
Who's in the room? Who should you bring in the room?
Yeah, so it's easy a lot of times to there's like groupthink that can probably exist. You probably spend so much time with like 2 to 3 people in your business and you're all talking about what's cool and what's not. And this is an opportunity to bring in the leaders that either run divisions or run parts of your business, but also that next generation of who you want to empower to take that next step, into the year that you want to rely upon for them to go drive other initiatives. And so for us, we had, our head of product, our head of technology, our head of revenue.
Heads of every department.
Heads of every department.
If you don't have departments,
if you don't have departments, then I would say, who do you want to empower to make autonomous decisions?
Yes.
And if you want them to have autonomy in making decisions, they need to belong in the room. And we started off, day one was just getting everybody on the same page, almost the state of the union of the business. And I can tell you, when you see like, and you're sharing vulnerable things, you're sharing, how much money we made, how much money we lost, what it costs to make the business work. And you see people's like eyes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting because you're like, people are like, wait, that's how much we spend for stuff? This is what we do for
there
this?
were so many things that even even I'm so in the day-to-day with you.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, that's what our insurance cost us?
Yeah.
Right? Like I like, yes, we need to have all these benefits. We need to do this stuff. I had no idea what percentage of that was actually totaling when you zoom out and you get to zoom in.
Yeah.
And like look at this business in that way. I mean, it was so wonderful. So day one, you're getting everybody caught up and you're doing financials of the business.
Yep.
We did team later. So I want you to kind of talk through a little bit of your structure.
Yeah. So I think more than anything is first, you need everybody to get on the same level playing field. So you want to educate everybody from a state of the union aspect, right? So that's what really day one is. And the other thing is you're checking in and building trust with the team, right? So you're showing versions of vulnerability. You're talking about what was celebrated, what was really good wins for the year, and what were things that weren't. Like we did an exercise. We wrote like the one word what this last like 9 months felt like. And I will tell you, I want to say everyone's word was, a version of like overwhelmed or
speed.
Underwater or fast and speed. And I think you get like
Chaos.
This emotional check-in. But you also see that everybody's in that same boat. So you sort of start there. Then we spent time saying, what do we want the next year to be like? And we didn't write, we need to make $50 million or $5 million or we want 500 people. It was a qualitative metric of saying,
what do we want next year to feel like?
What do we want it to feel like? And why it's important to say is like, all right, how are we going to get there? And so that was sort of the first stage. And what it allowed everybody to do is take that step back and say, okay, now let's start to work, like now that we're all humans, bringing that human element back into the room. And then we got to work on the business and, we divided, obviously we cater to, multiple styles of products or multiple divisions. So we sort of broke it out in that way, but we started off with understanding the product. So the first thing we did was saying, hey, does everybody know all the amazing progress we've made on these products? If you, sell products in your own world, whether they're multiple SKUs or whether it's software, whether it's technology or your services, allowing everybody to understand all the things that you've either created or accomplished.
Someone can buy.
That someone can buy. And, we forget all that stuff. So getting everybody, so once again, playing level playing field and then saying, all right, now how do we sell this, market it, and grow it? So we put a bunch of, sticky notes on the walls and large whiteboarding exercises. And we spent our time saying, what worked and what do we want more of? What do we want less of? And we went through that whole exercise and we just worked on the divisions of each part of the organization. And what's interesting is the rules that we have is like, you can't just solve problems with people, right? So the answer is not always people. So we're like, all right, what are the things that we want it to look like? And everybody's talking about it with the future state in mind. We're not talking about money yet.
Because we got there on day one. We're like, what does the future look like?
Yes, we're not talking about money yet. We're not talking about like, this is what we want. We're talking about what do we want this process to look like? And then day 3, which is the last day, we say, okay, now that we've agreed on what are the strategic objectives. So we leave day 2 with saying like, here are the key strategic objectives and the pillars that we think next year need to look like. Now,
I don't know why I said that. This is end of year planning for next year.
Yeah. And so we brought those strategic objectives and saying, all right, what do we need to make this happen? And so we start to put all this stuff together and we build, which is crazy, we build all the people that we need to make these things, what's the dollars and cents we need to make these things, but we use no names. So you're not allowed to say Suneera should do this or Sal should do this or Jenny or John should do this. We approach it with who is the style of person that needs to do this. And then we look at ourselves and say, all right, does that person exist in our organization? Are they in a different role? Do we need to hire for this person? Is this somebody we've had who's not fitting the bill, right? So you have to build this viewpoint without your own biases. We love working with each other, but maybe Sal's not the right fit for doing this or Suneera's not the right fit for this. And maybe we need to let XYZ do that job. And so you kind of go through that exercise. And what it really does is, at that end of the day 3, you find a very nice straw man of, next year's plan. You figure out alignment of what the strategic objectives are. And that's what you get to share back with your entire team, right? So this week we put together a full, quarterly business review to share with the entire organization.
How many, I'm just going to slow down.
Yeah.
You use a lot of big words.
Yeah.
It's the plan, right?
It's the plan.
It's the plan. It's the plan. And then you get to digest it. You get to build it together with the leadership team, which is important, or the decision makers, or the autonomous, the people who need autonomy in the organization. But my favorite at the end of it is we're checking in back also on our why. Like we went back in, I think I started this season with one of the first episodes on core values, right? And I shared a lot about where we literally revisited our core values, and we actually changed one.
We did.
So we kept 2 and we actually changed one. We're like, yep, that did work for what we needed to get to, but now things have to be different. And so we got an opportunity to even reflect on kind of the DNA of the organization, which is so important. And, just like as humans, we evolve, products evolve, things that like your business, I believe it's like a species. It is an organism. It's like a living organism that too needs to evolve. So it matures, it grows up, it realigns. And so we really got a chance to revisit based on all of the feedback that our customers have given, based on where we're winning in the marketplace, right? So when we started, we're like, great, we're going to go build business credit score, which is exactly what we're going to go build. But we are focused on, in order for us to get there, our main tool set is customer onboarding. It's called KYB. It's Know Your Business. For like large institutions, what they do is when they're underwriting a business, or you're onboarding with a bank, or you're getting anything, you're filling out an application, they have to know your business. They have to get to know your business. That product and that experience is a really crappy experience right now. And our solution set, although that was what we're solving, we didn't know that would end up being the hero of our platform. And that ended up being this like incredible. Our onboarding is what everybody wants. That's what everybody wants to buy. That's what makes us super unique and differentiated. And we were talking more about the score, which is an important component of it. And that is still the vision. But you've got to also lean into like what your customers are saying so that you can be successful. So it gave us an opportunity to kind of revisit this baby that's growing, right? This startup. Like now it's like, okay, now I can crawl, and now I've learned whatever. Now I can say my name, and I know how to say mama and dada and like whatever else. It's like literally growing now. And now we get to revisit, say, what does next year look like?
Yeah.
And that part was really awesome, to revisit our core values, revisit our mission, revisit the vision that we have, reset it with the team. And then once the top is aligned and the leadership is aligned, it is important it can't just stay there. It's important that you bring everybody else up. And it was just it was so awesome to do this offsite. I highly encourage it, whether you're a solopreneur and you're like, well, this only applies to, it doesn't. Like take the time. What I want you to take away is take the 3 days, right? You can still take the framework, take the 3 days, and you can, look it up. Like look up ways that you can, how offsites are run, or what you can look at in your business plan. But even if you're an individual, or even if you have agencies, even if you have contractors, you can still get the right people in the room and to support you in building what that future state looks like, because you're going to keep doing this. You're going to be in that, in that hamster wheel if you don't know where you're going. So you have to have the destination in mind, and then you got to get strategic about how you're getting there. So that's exactly what this allowed. And I thought it was like just really awesome of an exercise. It's been 1 full year. Yeah. Right. We launched in March. Is like when we,
I guess from the first time we would create a PowerPoint deck a year ago. Yeah.
But from a public facing standpoint, I mean, it's not even been a year, but a year since we've been heads down on you and I building it. And I can't believe we're back. Like there are moments of this that I'm like, it is so different in 2024 as well. Like now we're going into 2025. Yeah. But a lot's changed. And we're learning and growing, and we get to like now do it based on experience. Do you have any what are like some of your key takeaways from like now being a year in? Yeah, as round 2.
Yeah, I'd say the first thing is you fool yourself if you think it's any easier. Right? I think there are always going to be things that might be easier, but in general, it's still a lot of hard work, right? So right off the bat, it's something that,
rise and grind, baby.
It's true. If you actually want to make it work, the beginning stages and days and age, you have to be the one to do it. You use the toddler and infant analogy. Like I would say we are the parent of this thing as a newborn baby, which means like if we don't feed it a bottle, it it has to be fed. It
Yeah.
has to be changed. It
Yeah.
has to be the thing. And then as it matures, it can find the snack closet and it can feed
Okay, I like
itself.
that. Yeah.
And you want to make sure there's food in the fridge, but it will feed itself when it's
I'm
hungry.
loving third grade mom life with Mila, except for the homework. There are other challenges that come with it.
But it's a great example. You brought Mila, right? So Mila today, if she's hungry, she will go to and grab a snack, grab chips. And if you weren't there,
she knows how to make toast.
She will figure
She
it
makes
out.
cereal.
Yes. And it may not be the perfect nutrition. It might not be balanced. It might not, but she could survive just fine to make sure that she's fed. Right now at this day and age, you have to do it. And the other thing that's very important is like with you and Faisal right now is you guys have communication if it's an infant. Did you feed it? Did you change it? You have to have over communication because all of the parents are these department heads of this baby. So you're like, hey,
don't change. I already fed. Don't do another bottle.
Or if you didn't feed and you assume that the person fed and the baby
great...
is 3 hours hasn't fed it and you're like, oh my God, I thought you fed it. I didn't feed it. So that analogy actually worked really well with the stage that we're in right now because you are the only person that's going to make this happen. And so I know we were talking about the other book called Extreme Ownership right now. And that's
that was the book. The reason I was like looking at the date, I couldn't find it on here. I actually read this book when I first started Rise and Grind. I listened to the Audible. It was a really great Audible. And so I was like looking for the date of it because it's still so relevant. Like no matter what, you still have to get up and grind. Like no matter what, you get up and grind.
And that's it. And she mentioned, us talking about changing a core value. But one of the things that we had to get to is in this day and age, we had to remind ourselves that it is an infant and we have to have ridiculous communication and extreme ownership in doing. So it's not as simple as like, oh, can you make sure that this happens and walk away? Like as our days evolved in growing a business, you had better support, stronger processes in place. You had a lot more like rubrics and ways to measure. We had to go back to everything from like building our first KPI scorecard this year again of what measure this business, right? Like this business is different than our last business. So what's important in this one compared to the last one? And to your point, evolving from what the customer's saying. It's great that we thought this is what the customer would want, but this is actually what they want to start. Okay. How do we revisit our roadmap? How do we tweak and change and not just, put a cloak over our eyes and just sit there and keep building something that they don't want? Like those are tough conversations on a daily basis. So I'd say the lessons are things we've already learned, but constantly reapplying them, right? And I think that the beauty of the experience is the speed in which we can react. We know what's next. So you can look around the corner. So maybe sticking with the baby analogy again, like you had a second child. You knew at night when something was going on with Anna, there was a different reaction than you had than the first time you had to deal with it with Mila.
Yeah, because you come from experience.
You come from experience.
Damn, this analogy is good. Is it because you're going to be a father?
I'm very excited for that. And I'm sure I'm going to have my own first versions of experiences too on it. But yeah, I have somewhat of an experience being around Mila and Anna growing up. And so, but yeah, I think maybe that's where the analogy is definitely hitting home.
I really like this analogy, Salman. We're gonna use it. But it's been really fun. I would say like the one thing that sometimes I like look back on like what does get me through is having somebody to bounce, like it's hard.
Yeah.
Like no matter what. And there's so many highs. Like we're fully funded. We've got the world's greatest team. We've like the most incredible product. We're working with the smartest, most brilliant data scientists. Like the amount of knowledge and like, it's just next level. Like I feel this every time I'm in the worth energy.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like that's where I get, it's so much bigger.
So much bigger.
It's so much bigger. And I'm like, wow, like this is a real, like this can really change the way that we do business. And that also feels like even scarier.
But it's because last time we could work with one small business and like impact them immediately.
Yeah.
So it was very like, hey, I will help you. Right now, we're trying to go to the largest person to make one change to impact hundreds of thousands.
Like we're talking to the SBA.
Yeah.
Right. And like we want them to be part. We want these large institutions to be part of it. It takes, what do you call it? What kind of change? It's like transformational.
Yeah. Like you want to find the transformational officers, the people, like you're in an area where you're leaning in on something that's never happened before, right? So even these buzzwords like AI, et cetera, that happen, like everyone's always scared. The first person to do anything is always scared. Right. And so you have to find people that are change makers that really believe in the direction that they want to go. And so you need people to be, and one of our quarterly objectives is you need raving fans. You need people that are maniacal about the mission.
All of you, go sign up for WordScore beta. I need you to sign up for the beta. Like my goal is to have like 10,000 customers signed up or beta. So just go on to wordscore.com. I want to give this to you. I want you to help us build that dashboard for us of what you want as a small business owner when we get to the small business side. So just a plug in a reminder here for wordscore.com, sign up for the beta.
Yeah, and I agree. And why I'm just going to echo on what she just said there. The power of the tool is immaculate. Once you get in it and see what we can actually do and help you be better at your business, it is fundamentally Suneera's vision on empowering, all the female entrepreneurs and all the businesses and all of you as you guys are building it. But truly all the knowledge, we have 15 years that we've built this platform, plus all the new technology that's there. So I fully echo wordscore.com to get there. But yeah, I think it's just been it's been a ride. It's been tough. There are some great wins too, though, right? So being able to get, our 15 customers or whatever we may have on the enterprise level, there are these change makers that are out there. There are people that, whether they believe in us, they believe in the mission.
Publicly traded companies that are our customers. We have top 5 banks that are our customers. We can't disclose all the names, but the traction has been insane.
Yeah. Down to governmental agencies.
Yeah. But the pressure has been, my question for you, there's so much. I'm gonna keep inviting you back for like the check-in, like the start. Yeah. But I was saying is that you do help me get out of my head.
Yeah.
What gets you out of your head? What's the thing? What makes you so special that it just doesn't, maybe it does phase you and I don't know because I look to you as like, even though you're my younger brother, I look to you in like an older brother way at many times. What is it that I'm missing here? Like why are you always so even keel with shit?
I think it's a combination.
I don't even keel with stuff.
I think it's a combination. I don't always. I do the same on the highs too, though. So whenever like even our biggest we just raised $50 million or we just all the big wins, I'm like, okay, cool, but now we gotta go execute. I also don't fall for the trap of super excitement, and I don't fall for the trap when we're like, hey, we fucked this up or we messed this up and we gotta go solve for it.
Nothing is as good as it seems. Nothing is as bad as it seems. Best piece of advice.
Yes, and I think that it's actually Asif that said it. I think it's the words were optimism of the heart, pessimism of the mind, I think was the title he said, which we always lead with our heart first, but we want to be smart about it. So I think that's where it comes from. And we have a support system that's always going to be there. And I don't think we've ever come across something that we haven't been able to figure out. So I think I live in that world of that, we're going to figure it out. I don't know what the solution is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be perfect. And at the end of the day, we're our biggest critics, right? So we're the ones that are going to be the harshest on ourselves. We probably live in our own heads of everything. We leave this podcast, I'll probably leave and I'll walk home and be like, I wish I said that, or I wish I did this, right? We all do that. And so in that way, I think if you step back and appreciate the things that are there, and that's kind of the world I live in. I don't know if it's just in my head, and I'm keep grinding, keep winning.
What's the why? Why do you get up and rise and grind, Sal? The way that you do, your execution, your speed drives me absolutely nuts, keeps me pulling and keeps me going fast. But why? What's this reason? Why do you get up every day to do it?
Yeah. So at first I'd say younger days, it was money motivated, right? Younger days, I wanted to win. And that was sort of the scoreboard was that. And I think once you accomplish that, then I think at Stacks, the later years, it was really seeing other people win. So I think the concept of seeing so many people make money alongside us, changing their lives, being able to do that. And now I think it's very similar, but in a broader scope, empowering the small and medium-sized businesses to change their own lives. So I think for me, it is the people side of it. It's how do you make a way for them to have a better version of themselves in at least the part that I believe I bring to the world, which is the financial education side, the financial area for them to grow their businesses. I think that's a superpower that we've been able to have and been blessed with in an area of, working through the businesses that we get to work with. So to me, it's that. It's making that a broader, bigger version and finding bigger ways to make that happen.
I love that. It's really fun to work alongside you. It's also drives me nuts to work alongside you.
Ditto.
Thank you for coming. So I literally didn't trick Sal, but it kind of happened in a sense. We needed to do the Welcome to Money 2020 promo reel. And then I said, let's just, can I just keep talking? And he's like, no, I gotta go. And we got to
I have a flight in an hour and 27 minutes.
You do have a flight heading back to New York, doing your thing, going to go see a customer. Any parting words that you want to share on, because we're going to probably do an update here shortly. Do you want to do, actually, before we do parting words, one of the things I want from all of you, I'm trying to find a way for Sal and I to have something together, a show for Worth itself, I want your ideas. Like, what do you want to hear? We can go down focusing on small business because it has to be like we support small businesses' financial health. That's what we do. Your credit worth, your credit score, your business financials. That's our lane. That's what we're building. And so I want to know if that's something of interest to you. What could that format look like? What do you want to hear from Sal about? And if you enjoyed today's episode, look at this face. Okay, tag him, annoy him, bother him, leave a review and write Sal, we need this. Post it up on stories. He will reshare it. We could tag Sal. You could find him. I know you could tag him from Worth. You could tag him from Sal Rehmetullah. I'll link it all in the show notes. So please do that. But with our any final thoughts and words, because we're going to have an update here shortly that you want to leave these wonderful entrepreneurs with.
Yeah, look, I'd say we're coming towards the tail end of the year. So like everything else in life, we all, put year-end resolutions for the year. We go through that. We do a lot of it on the personal journey. So for all entrepreneurs, I'd say to think about it the same way for your own business. Like celebrate with your teams, reflect on those portions, but take it as a moment to what do you want to see improve. And like anything else, create tactical goals for yourself. Like, for the people that want to get in shape or you want to change something or spend more time with your family, we all do it on the personal side, but I'd encourage you to do the same thing for the business side. And then lastly, as I said, sign up for WorthScore, not only to support us, but I'm telling you, it's going to be a big, big thing to drive your business going into next year. And we're really happy to support the community that Suneera's built for a decade plus as part of it. And we want to make sure that it's in your hands before anybody else. And so just really excited about that.
Thank you, Sal, for joining us on this wonderful episode. I had a blast, and I'm so glad we were able to spend some offsite time as well. You get on your flight, and we'll catch you on another episode of CEO School. Thank you for listening. Go tag him.